Welcome Gemini, this is Sunbaker Studio. I'm Natalie Moss. Okay, welcome Gemini. Let's do a Celtic cross spread. It's June 2025, but this reading will be suitable whenever you feel, whenever you've opened it, whenever you've started watching it, and if it feels like it resonates, then we're good to go. Current situation is the King of Pentacles. We're really looking like rock star energy at the moment, so things are really adding up, and there's this sense of self, there's a sense of capacity and capability of amassment, or it could also be this situation where we've got someone in our lives where we're supported, or we've come into this opportunity to be held and to be stable in our resources, in our accommodation, in our home, in our work. There's this sense of stability and there's this groundedness there, but also this kind of rock star spectacle and specialness. The Two of Pentacles is the challenge. So there's multiple things that we're looking at, two or more things that we're looking at needing to balance or put together. So there are these almost like two worlds colliding. Like, how are we holding and synthesizing the situation? How are we pulling these things in together? What we want to focus on is a singular idea. So as we said with the challenge, like, not to have the two things separated, but to bring them into a single point, and to like have that spark of inspiration and that new inspiration that comes through from the Ace of Swords there, what we want to focus on. So what we're leaving behind in our recent past is the Eight of Swords. So this is where we had to feel so limited from our external environment and really hone into what it was that we were bringing through from source, from core, from and an aligned inner place within us. So we're moving beyond that now, from that sense of clarity that we've gained from the Eight of Swords kind of binding us in the material sense. And our strengths at the moment are this capacity to receive and to give, and this karmic cycle and this awareness and understanding of how things work karmically, how we're able to have empathy and have forgiveness for the past and for past actions. That's a strength of ours at the moment. And in the near future, we have the Seven of Wands. So there is this needing to take sort of like higher ground and hold your ground, and to hold something in place, or to hold others off from like coming for you or coming for what you're working on. So that's with the near future. So our advice at the moment with this really beautiful Hermit card is to lay low, to go into a potential inner space, and kind of go quiet and sort of add up, what are those lessons, what are those things that we notice out in the world, and how do we take them in, and how do we balance these lessons and bring out something that is the culmination of our experiences. So there's this real inner working that goes on with the isolation of the hermit and being selective with what we're doing and what we're up to and what we're taking in. So it's a time to be very selective with what you're out and about doing, but spending that time integrating and working on the inner space. The environment we're in is the Queen of Cups. So I think we've got a lot of support around us. We've got a lot of people who we identify with, or who we feel are holding us in a very sacred way, holding us with a lot of presence and holding us in good faith. There's, if we're free of sort of judgment, it's all kind of balanced there, and this creating this really holy space and this honored space. Our hopes and fears, the Five of Pentacles. So we fear that we're going to lose it all. We fear we're going to be thrown out in the cold. We fear that we're going to be, busted up and broken, and we're not going to have a place to rest. We're not going to have a place to recover, or, maybe we're feeling a bit isolated from help, a bit out in the cold. And that's what we're concerned about at the moment. And what we've got the potential outcome for is the Three of Swords, so there could be some heartbreak on the horizon. But the potential outcome, you know, if we stay in that fear energy with the Five of Pentacles, if we stay there, then we're going to end up feeling disappointed with the situation. But this is only a potential, and it can be, you know, adapted and changed, and we could improve the outcome of the situation if we don't succumb to this fear within the Five of Pentacles. But we can use our relationships in our environment to support us, going within and getting, you know, really synthesized with the lessons that we're learning, and attuning to at a subtle layer. It's how what we're perfecting with the Hermit there, because there's Virgo energy. So what are we perfecting based on the obstacles, the challenges, the lessons, the wisdom that we've learnt? The Hermit really only comes out at certain times, so it's like not needing to give your advice left, right, and center, or give your advice where it's not welcome or not asked for. It's sage advice. The Hermit is only giving their wisdom and knowledge when we're invited to, in selective circumstances where we're going to be seen and called out for our abilities and skills as the Hermit. So it's like, hold on to things which no one's asked for and give it just where it's valuable to the people who need it most. So it's integrating or balancing these two options and letting it come through with one spark of inspiration. So rather than needing to toss and turn and go from one thing to the other, it's how do we bring that through in a single spark of inspiration. Yeah. And what we've got for the animal spirit is the panther and the whale. So the panther is very strong energy. We're thinking sleek. We're thinking big cat in the night. So again, it's like more of the unseen realms. The panther has a lot of power. There's a lot of underworld power here. There's a lot of readiness and agility. But it is the same, like with this Hermit, kind of cloaked and veiled in the night. So there's no need to like pull it out until the right timing. The whale is all about that collective memory and holding on to what we remember from our deep past. And it's a lot to do with our ancient lineage and our families and familiars and these ancient tales and stories and things of past that are collected in the collective memory, which we can tap into. So maybe it's also looking at dreams or stories of the past, or stories or mythology or myth. It's looking back to the past and having a memory of, you know, what worked or what to bring forward or when to strike or when to use your power in the most optimal way. Gemini, it's also a time to look for symbols and signs. So this is all about tuning in to that subtle layer. We've got trust coming through here as well. So deep sense of trust. And with the strength here and the Six of Cups, we're able to trust in the give and the take, in the flow. And this is so much about flow and karmic receptivity. So we're kind of paying our dues and receiving our dues at the same time. Definitely, I also tuned into, in my notes earlier, I tuned into song and alarm, pace, rhythm, having a response and call. So there was bird song, and it was, I think, very much the whale has a song and a tune, and it kind of calls out and they respond to one another with their song. So I think it's about, you know, this time is like trusting in those signs and symbols, trusting in the call, trusting in who calls you out or who needs you and what you have to give in that capacity, you know, within your environment, with your friend group and the people that you care about and the people who are on the same journey and on the same path and aligning in that sense. You know, we don't need to have fears for the future. We don't need to, you know, self-prophesize the potential heartbreak era. Although, you know, if we do feel heartbreak, the Three of Swords is really about saying, like, there's one thing that we've lost, like, win the battle, not the war, you know. It's like maybe there's this thing that we've missed out on, but there's a bigger situation or a bigger prize or a bigger goal. So, you know, those Three of Swords moments, they're only small moments. They're not earth-shattering. It's not death. It's not the end of. It's just one thing that we might have thought was the thing, but it's not the thing. Thank you so much, Gemini. If you enjoyed this, I would love you to like the video, provide a comment, share the video if you like, or subscribe to my channel. I'm doing holistic interior design, tarot, and human design, and all things in the kitchen sink. So welcome, thank you very much, and have a beautiful day.